The Obama administration says extreme interrogation techniques against suspected terrorists, seen in this waterboarding simulation, significantly damaged U.S. interests abroad without serving national security. The Senate report described how the CIA misled those who questioned its practices, says Human Rights First President Elisa Massimino.
It's clear that the program was far more widespread, more brutal, and less effective than had been claimed.
Speaking at a Washington conference, U.S. Senator Chris Coons said American security is undermined when human rights are not at the center of foreign policy.
We advance our security best when we live up to our most core values, that they are perceived to be in tension, but if lived rightly, they actually reinforce each other profoundly, that only by actually being the nation that we preach to the world that we are, can we be a sustainably secure.
And ensuring strong rights abroad is central to U.S. security, says U.S. Assistant Secretary of State Tom Malinowski.
International order depends, in our view, not just on the balance of power between states, but the balance within them. That's why we have a stake in the contest of ideas.
Malinowski says the human rights movement has established expectations about the rights of free speech, association, and elections, principles that threaten authoritarian governments.
It has led some authoritarian powers not just to crush internal dissent, but to intervene outside their borders to stop the example of democracy from spreading. As the old conception of power loses legitimacy, some have also sought refuge in another old idea, nationalism and territorial expansion. And so it has gone in Russia. We're doing everything in our power to ensure the same doesn't happen in East Asia.
Russia is backing Ukraine separatists in part to test European and U.S. resolve to live up to their ideals, says Russian human rights attorney Sergei Golubok.
When one state tests the system and shows others that obligations under the relevant treaties can be just forgotten with impunity, then other states will follow this route, especially those on the borderline.
Some lawmakers question the Senate report's release at a time Washington is fighting Islamic State militants and has citizens held hostage. But Massimino says the findings are an important part of coming to grips with the past.
One thing I think that we've learned over the last 10 years is that it's not the transparency or the release of the report that has caused the United States so much trouble. It's the torture. And we are finally taking steps to put daylight between those acts and our ideals.
Massimino says U.S. leaders must close any loopholes and prohibitions against torture to make sure that this dark chapter of history is not repeated. Scott Stearns, VOA News at the State Department.